Welcome back, 8th graders. So in this video, we're going to talk about, we still have variables on both sides of the equal sign, but we're going to talk about what it is we're going to do when we have to combine like terms, if we have fractions, if we have decimals, and how we can work with those to the best of our advantage and use what we know. All right, so here's our first one. And it, of course, wants to change before it'll allow me to write. And like I said, I tend to, especially with combining like terms or to know if I have multiple variables, I like to put that line through my equal sign just to say, okay, am I moving across the equal sign or are they both on the same side of the equal sign? And so here we have B and B on the same side of the equal sign. So that's what we're gonna start with, is combining like terms. And so B plus B is 2B. Plus 18 equals 4B. So to be or not to be. All right, from here, now I talked about at one point how if it helps you could go letters left. But if you were to do letters left at this point, we would have nothing left on the right-hand side. And so when we have only variables on one side of the equal sign, we should move our variables all to that same side. So instead of moving my letters left, which this shows me keeping it positive anyway, I'm going to move my 2b to the right with the 4b. So the opposite of a positive 2b is to subtract 2b. And so we're going to do the subtraction property of equality. And so then from here, 2b minus 2b is 0. We're left with 18 on the left. 4b minus 2b is 2b. And then our last step, we need to get the b by itself, so we're going to divide both sides. So the division property of equality, we're going to divide both sides by 2. And so then 18 divided by 2 is 9, and we're left with b on the right-hand side. So 9 equals b. Technically, symmetric property says you could also say b equals 9. And then we double check in the original equation. So when I plug into my original equation, 9 plus 9 plus 18 equals 4 times 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18, and 18 plus 18 is 36. And then 4 times 9 is 36. So they both equal the same thing. And so I did it right. Now, if they did not, that means that something, when I was solving, I did something wrong. And so then I highly suggest that if you do something wrong, don't erase the whole thing and start over. Start back from your, did I do this division correctly? Yes. Then check, did I do my addition? Did I add right? Did I subtract right? Those would be things to look at. But don't scrap it all. Did you drop a sign? That's a common error, is leaving a sign somewhere. All right, let's move on to our next problem. So here we have fractions. And sometimes fractions make us all go, I don't know how to do it. But that's okay. Mrs. Cartwright's going to do her best to make this easier for you. The way to make it to where you don't have fractions, which is what most of us want to do anyway, get rid of fractions, is to multiply by the least common, or the least common denominator. That's the word I'm looking for. We want to multiply by the least common denominator. In our case, our denominator is the same for all of our fractions. But if we had like halves and fifths, then our least common denominator would be tenths. And so we'd multiply everything by 10. In this case, we have halves. And so we're going to multiply everything by 2. And I'm going to distribute where I need to distribute. So I'm not just going to multiply the 2 with the fractions. I've got to multiply it with everything in the equation to make this an equal outcome. And so we're going to do 2 over 1, because remember, we'll write a whole number over 1 for a fraction, times a negative 1/2. That's what we're doing. So then 2 times negative 1 equals negative 2. 1 times 2 is 2, which gives us a negative 1. So here we have negative 1c, and then 2 times the negative 5 is a negative 10 equals, and then 2 times 1/2, so 2 over 1 times 1/2, we end up with 2 over 2, which is a positive 1, and so we have 1c. So notice by multiplying everything by 2, I now have no fractions in my new equation, which makes it to where our heads go, oh, so much easier, right? I have only c's on the right-hand side, so I'm going to add 1c to both sides. The reason I'm adding 1c, and this was that multiplication property of equality, that first step, because we multiplied both sides by the same. And so now I'm going to do my addition property of equality, because this was a negative 1c and the opposite is a positive 1c. And so then we're left with negative 10 equals 2c. I need to do the opposite of multiplying, which is to divide. So our division property of equality, and then divide both sides by 2 so that we get negative 5 equals c. Now this should be our final answer. How do we know? We plug it in, and you want to plug it in to the original equation. You're like, oh, but Mrs. Cartwright, the original equation was fractions again. That's okay. We need a refresher on how to do fractions anyway. All right, so when we multiply, we put this over 1. And so, and then I'm going to think of this as minus 5 is 5 over 1 also. So we're going to do a negative 1/2 times a negative 5. Negative negative makes it positive. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2, because when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across. At this point, when we add fractions, we know we need like denominators. And so I can't do 5 over 1 for my constant here. I'm going to make it over 2. So to get the 2 in the denominator, I have to multiply the 5 by 2. And so I end up with 10 over 2, so that I have like denominators equals, and again, we're going to make this over 1. Positive times a negative is a negative. 5 times 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. So far, we've multiplied, and then we converted our 5 over 1 as a constant to make it 10 over 2, so that we had all like denominators all the way across here. And then now that we have like denominators, I'm going to do 5 minus 10, which is a negative 5, and we keep it over 2. When we're adding and subtracting, we keep the denominator, equals a negative 5 halves. And so we did the equation correctly the first time, so c does equal negative 5, and it works out. Again, you can solve this. We could have added 1/2 to both sides, and then that could have been what we did and solved from there. I just like to get rid of fractions, and I know several students, that's what we prefer to do. We see fractions and we kind of tense up a little and freak out, but we just remember we want to multiply by the least common denominator. All right, our last example, here we have a decimal, and we've talked about using that multiplication property of equality for decimals. If you want to, you can solve just using decimals. But as you guys all know, Mrs. Cartwright likes her whole numbers when doing her equations, as much as possible at least. So since we only have one decimal place, we're going to multiply both sides by 10. If we had 2 decimal places, we'd multiply by 100. 3 decimal places, we'd multiply by 1,000. And it's whichever number has the most decimal places, that's the number that determines what we multiply by. So here I'm going to distribute the 10 through, so we're going to get 20d plus 97 equals, and then I'm going to distribute the 10 on the other side. Negative 1 times 10 is negative 10d. Negative 17 times 10 is a negative 170. And so, again, we use that multiplication property of equality to get our new equation with no decimals. From here, I am going to add 10 to both sides because that's going to keep me at a positive coefficient. So we're going to add 10d. So 20d plus 10d is 30d plus 97 equals a negative 170. And then I'm going to subtract, so that was APOE, that first one. And now we're going to use SPOE, subtraction property of equality. I'm going to subtract a negative 97 from both sides. So then we end up with 30d equals, and a negative 170 minus 97. They're both negative, so we're going to have a negative answer, and we're actually going to add them. So we get a 267. And then our last step is the division property of equality, which means I'm going to divide both sides by that positive 30. So D is going to equal negative divided by positive is negative. And then 267 divided by 30, I get 8.9. And if you're like, oh, it's a decimal, is that correct? Because that's normally what students do when they see a decimal answer. They don't think that a decimal could be a correct answer, but it is a number. There's nothing wrong with decimal answers. Just double check them. 2 times a negative 8.9 plus 9.7. Remember, we always check in the original equation just in case our distribution or our multiplication is where our mistake was made, minus a negative 8.9 minus 17. All right, so I'm going to do my multiplication. 2 times a negative 8.9 is going to be a negative 17.8 plus our 9.7. Now, when we do a negative times a negative, that's a positive, even if there's not a number there. Remember, it's invisible 1. Negative 1 times a negative 8.9 gives us a positive 8.9 minus 17. So now that I'm going to add, right? So negative 17.8 plus 9.7, different signs, so we're actually subtracting and keeping the sign in the larger. So the larger is the 17, so it's going to be negative, and then 17.8 minus 9.7 gives us 8.1. So on our left-hand side, we have a negative 8.1. And then when we do 8.9 minus 17, again, different signs, so subtract. And keep the sign larger. The 17 is larger, so it's going to be a negative. And 17 minus 8.9 is 8.1. So we end up with the same answer on both sides, which means that D indeed equals a negative 8.9. And that is a correct answer. So again, fractions and decimals you can easily do just as fractions and decimals and follow the rules of fractions and decimals. But we can use distributive property and that multiplication property of equality to our advantage and make it to where we have whole numbers that we're working with. And the choice is yours. So until next time, peace out, 8th graders.